This afternoon we're in the village of Caldbeck and we're going to head up to Faulds Brow, which is one of the outlying fells. In fact, it's the most northerly of all of the outlying fells. It's a simple walk out of the village via a lane, up to the little fell itself, and then back down through some fields and back into the village. And as you can see, there's a pub here waiting for us at the end. So we'll head on.
We leave the village by the good road that leads to the north. After about half a mile, we take the small lane that's forked off to the left. This lane gently rises. It is tarmac, but it's not used. A little further on you'll come to open moorland, an area that's crossed by a main road. Do take care because some of the traffic can be passing quite quickly.
Sit.
Directly opposite is the lane that leads to Waterhead Farm. We don't take that, we head half left through those rocks and up onto the moor itself. The path across the moor is a little indistinct in places and boggy underfoot, but it's a great place. You might get a chance to see maybe snipe and even the occasional red grouse as you cross towards the higher point of the fell. On reaching the high ground, you'll come across some of these overgrown pits. They're actually shake holes and were used in the quarrying of limestone. It was a prolific industry at one time around this area, and these holes are nothing to do with jettisoned bombs that Wainwright suggested in his book, The Outlying Fells. There's a large quarry here. And in fact, if you wanted to do a much shorter route, you could park here near this quarry and just do a 10-minute walk up to the summit and back. It was a hive of industry. At one time, there were at least 8 lime kilns here to process the works. We walk on in a westerly direction towards the rise, which is actually the summit of Faulds Brow. And on the very top you can just make out the large cairn which marks the highest point. Since Wainwright's day, the cairn has been augmented by some of those stones which made up the grouse butts that he indicated in his route. From the summit, there's a fine view to the south of the northern fells. In the book, Wainwright describes how the summit area was covered in heather. But that's not the case today. The heather's receded quite a bit. Of course, when it was here, the heather supported a number of grouse, which was the reason behind the grouse shooting butts. Unusually, in the wording, Wainwright's description of the summit is a little bit unclear as to where it is exactly, but he does mark it in the map with the little black triangle, and that's this point that we're sitting at now at 1,125 feet, according to him. But since then it's been remeasured at 1,129 feet and 344 metres. But this is the point, the Wainwright summit of Faulds Brow. Bailey's now impatient to move on. So we pack up and head back in a southeasterly direction towards the reservoir which is marked on the current OS maps. This is quite a good path across the moor, and as you pass the reservoir on your right, which is actually fenced off and an underground reservoir, you'll come to the main road. Turn left and walk along the road for about 300 metres and then take the next track on the right down to Brown Rig Farm.
Come.
As you approach the farm buildings, it's not very clear where the path goes, but it is straight through the gate and directly between the farm buildings on the left and the house on the right. Pass between the farm buildings and then turn immediately left, and then pass through 2 gates to get out into the fields. Once through the second gate, turn immediately right, following the footpath down through the fields to the next wall. At the bottom of the field you pass a spoil heap of concrete slabs, and then you'll see the stile that goes over the wall to the right of a gate. The stile looked a bit rickety to me, so I didn't want to risk it, and so Bailey and I went through the gate. We're then into the next field and continue down the hill. Walk diagonally left down through this field and you'll come to a new fence with a stile. The stile's not very dog friendly, so I had to give Bailey a lift over using his harness. Keep this field boundary on your right. Turn the corner, again, heading down the hill between some trees, and you'll soon end up near Beck. If your navigation skills are good, you'll reach the beck just at a point where there's a bridge. But keep to the left-hand side of the river as it heads downstream, where there's a footpath. This will take you down into some woods, and on the right you'll hear the tumbling waterfalls of Beck. Some are quite impressive, and some have actually got their own names, like Fairy Kirk and Fairy Dell. This area is known as the Howk, and before long you'll pass between some buildings. This bobbin mill used to have one of the largest water wheels in the country, and it operated between 1857 and 1924. It made bobbins for the lace industry, as well as the spokes for cartwheels and other wooden items. There's a good path here, and all you have to do is follow it, and you're soon approaching the village. Go between some buildings, and there you are, back on the roads which lead you back to the centre of the village itself. And that's it, a short walk up to Faulds Brow. 2.5 hours should see you do it easily, and ideal for a Sunday afternoon walk. Thanks for watching.